Welcome to the Real Estate Show with your real estate and mortgaging team, Terry Kilakos and Eleni Akrivos on CJAD 800.
And a happy Sunday, everyone. It's Terry Kilakos. It's 1:06, and welcome to the Real Estate Show. I am Terry Kilakos, chartered mortgage broker and president of Northeast Mortgages. Thank you for joining me in studio. As always, we have my beautiful co-host, Eleni Akrivos, chartered real estate broker and president of Northeast Realties. All these presidents around.
I know.
President. We have another president in the... Yeah.
We're all here. Your whole team is here. We got you covered.
Last week, we started talking about buying your first investment property. I think we got like maybe 5% into it, and we had we had calls about other things,
so we really want to get to it today.
That's right. We had a barrage of callers and texters, which we love to have. So don't forget, you can always join the conversation by calling in with your questions at 514-790-0800 or texting in 514-800. And you can also watch the show and comment on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Northeast Mortgages. Or if we're friends on Facebook, or if you're following me, you can come directly onto my Facebook page, Terry Kilakos, and you'll be able to see what's going on, all the craziness. And for those of you that have been actually listening to the show for a while, you tend to know that I tend to break stuff in the studio. So today we're just gonna dive right into it. We're gonna get right into the the meat of the show. We'll get into real estate investing. I myself, as many people know, am a real estate investor. This is what actually drove me to become a mortgage broker. From what I understand, Eleni, I think it's the same thing goes for you. I mean, you were in real estate before you actually got into real estate.
I started in my 20s, and then my real estate broker at the time said, I think you have a knack for this. You should probably do this. I was like, okay, let's do it.
And from that, you ended up going and getting licensed and stuff. So, I mean, my backstory is, for those that haven't actually heard it, at 24 years old, I was working for an investment company. I truthfully, I had like this love-hate relationship with the job. I wanted something more, so I wanted to start buying real estate. I mean, real estate was always one of these things that my family did. My parents.
Us too.
Exactly. Good, wholesome Greek families. This is what it's all about, right?
A lot of the immigrants did, build their wealth.
100%.
Over time.
100%. I mean, for me, my mom had this one thing that she kind of instilled in me from a very young age. She said, never buy your single family home until you have enough rents coming in to pay for that single family home. And it was something that I took to heart, and I actually, I really connected with it at a very deep level. And that's why at 24, when it was time for me to actually move out, I went and I bought myself a fourplex. And then thanks to that fourplex, that eventually evolved into more and more and more doors over the years.
We have more in common than I thought.
You see, there you go.
I mean, I grew up with the same mentality, and we never bought, I always tell my clients, we bought our first single home 2 years ago. We always had plexes. We either lived in a duplex, because this was the mentality growing up. The rents will always, help pay for the property. It'll increase in value. It makes more sense to have a plex. So sometimes clients ask, they want to buy a single house, they can't afford it, and I say, well, have you thought of a plex? And it was never in their family history. So they're like, no, we never thought of living in a plex. So I think a lot of it has to do with how you were brought up, and but hopefully you can learn stuff, even though you weren't brought up with it. You can learn new investment strategies.
100%, and that's part of what we do at Northeast. Whether it's on the real estate side or on the mortgage side, we actually we help investors figure out and strategize ways to stretch every dollar, but also to help them do the hard calculations of whether or not the deal makes sense.
If it's even for them.
100%, and to basically break the analysis by paralysis kind of cycle that a lot of people have. I see we have a couple of callers coming in as well. We have a text. I'm going to get to the text right away. Hi, I have a quick question. Is there any way lenders can take an incorporation's gross income for mortgages for self-employed people? Thank you. And that's from Aldo. Simple, yes and no. Okay, so first of all, an incorporation, you got to understand, is its own entity. So because it's its own entity, regardless of what the gross income of the incorporation is, it's not going to be the income for the individual employees. So now, as a self-employed person, we could look at the gross revenues of the company, and we can take the income that you have and gross it up a little bit to help you actually qualify to buy a property. It's called an Alt-A program, and the Alt-A programs are there to help self-employed people. However, it's very important. If your incorporation, let's say, is making $50,000 a year, and you're declaring for yourself $20,000 or $30,000, and we need $100,000 of self-employed income or of income to get that deal done, because that amount is going to go over the amount of the gross revenues of the company, it's not going to work. Okay, so it's very important. There's a lot of rules with respect to the Alt-A program. The other thing is the maximum number of doors is 2. As well, you have to be it has to be owner occupied. So there's a whole bunch of little kind of details that need to be.
It's a lot of details, Terry.
It's a lot of details. It's a lot of details. I think
they should call you at the office.
Yeah, 100%. So Aldo, by all means, you can call me at the office, 514-680-4674. We're going to get to the callers after the traffic. Let's just intro a little bit the show. I mean, we are going to be talking about.
Yeah, I think we're going to get into also just the first question, why? So a lot of people have been telling us, oh, I want to get into investing. It's becoming so popular, HGTV, all that stuff. Why? What's your why? What's the reason? It's the first question I ask a client. I think we're going to look into why do you want to become an investor?
Yeah, and I find that a lot of people, you know, the why that they come back with to me is, oh, we want freedom. Well,
I want to quit my job.
I want to quit my job. We want freedom, but
there's a lot of reasons. I want more money every month. I want to leave a legacy for my kids. Okay, so once we look at the why, then we can look at the plan, and does it match your why, and does it match the budget?
Exactly.
That's what we're going to really look at today.
The other things that are going to come up is we're going to be talking a little bit about what happens if a tenant wants to leave, what kind of tax implications do we have with respect to owning revenue properties, and HGTV, like you said, makes it look so simple.
Yeah.
Is it actually the reality of actually being a homeowner and being a landlord a lot of times?
And we're gonna look at the good stuff too, right? So ways to make money with income properties.
There's good stuff?
There's good stuff too. Yeah. Good, bad, the ugly.
We're coming up to 1:15 on the other side of traffic. We're going to be talking with Eleni about becoming a real estate investor and what you need to know. Now we're off to the CJAD Traffic Center with Kira Yeager.
In Boucherville, we do have an accident, unfortunately, and it's causing about a 15-minute delay at the moment. So it is on 20 westbound at a...
Was it Kira Yeager?
Just before Montaville, actually. So that area is going to slow you down. We also have a delay on the Champlain Bridge inbound.
Oh, it's not Kira Yeager?
It is Kira Yeager.
Oh, it is. I hear her.
If you're on the inbound Champlain, there is a detour. You have to take 5 on the Broadway. So that
Hello, Facebook people. Give Terry some love. He's doing an awesome job. Because last night, you may not know, but we were at the Friends for the Cure 2019. Hashtag FFTC 2019.
And hashtag Terry's freaking exhausted. Hashtag Terry went to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning.
So did I.
Hashtag
But he's doing
Terry's
a great
been
job.
doing renovations all week.
Exactly. So, but all to say, we'll talk about it maybe a little later, but it was a great event.
100%.
We were invited by Luciano Papillo, which was really nice. We tend to go almost every year. They raised $120,000 for the perioperative program, the POP program, for the Montreal General Hospital. So that was an awesome event. If you guys want to check out photos on Facebook and Instagram, you can check out the hashtag. And you got some photos up there, and it was about almost 1,000 people. So very nice event. And Terry's was at the event and renovating his basement. So I think you're doing an awesome job. I think people need to give you some love
Honestly speaking, I had I've literally spent pretty much, I go to the office during the day and then I'll come home at night and I do renovations on the basement. So I've been laying down my subfloors, tearing down walls, doing all that kind of fun stuff.
Are you investors listening? Are you
Yeah.
willing to go to work during the day and then come home at night? This is very interesting that you're saying this because our first property, that's what we did.
That's right.
You work during the day. It's a second job. That's
Yeah.
how I see it, right? If you're going to be an investor.
100%.
So this is it. He's coming home and putting the time to renovate.
Yeah.
Why? To increase the value,
Yeah.
right?
The funny thing is that, when I
Eventually.
used to do it, I used to, like, I haven't done home renovations in
Yeah.
a fairly long time.
You're saying you used to do it when you were younger.
Yeah, I used to do it when I was younger, and it was like a breeze. I was
Yeah.
like right now everything
hurts.
from like the top of my head all the way to my toes, and I got like splinters and sawdust in places
Yeah.
that I didn't even think
Because
were
you have
possible.
more cracks now because you're older. More
Wow,
creases.
let me tell you,
It's true.
freaking
We used to
painful.
work. We used to come home, renovate. We had we were in our 20s.
I had a
Now
splinter.
it's-
I had a splinter in my shoulder right here. So I'm in the shower. I'm taking a shower like after like the day.
Like,
And I'm like, why is my hand getting stuck on my shoulder? And there was like a splinter like this, right in.
now we know he's over 40 now. That's what's happening.
I'm over
So
40.
good. You're gonna survive the rentals,
I know.
and then your basement's gonna look great.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be.
We
great.
got,
so.
my wife and I got like the last
So you're
house in
handy.
Dollar that was at a good price
Yeah.
as far as I'm
So
concerned.
you're handy fairly, right? So we're gonna
I'm
get
very
into that
handy,
too. Like I
yeah.
think it's a good thing to be somewhat handy. I think it's very helpful for us. It helped us. We saved a lot of money.
Yeah.
We did a lot of stuff on our own. Some stuff we paid people to do. What
I-
about if you're not handy at all? Oof. I think
gets-
it's tougher, but you can get people.
We're back.
Terry Kilakos and Eleni Akrivos on CJAD 800.
Loving the music. I'm loving it. We're going to get to the phones in just 1 second. Welcome back, everyone, to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Terry Kilakos. In studio with me, we have Eleni Akrivos. And today we're talking about what you need to know before buying your first investment property. Call in with your questions at 514-790-0800 and join the conversation. As well, you can text us at 514-800. We have Laura on the phone and she has a questions about liens on a house. Hey, Laura.
Good afternoon.
Good
guys.
afternoon.
How are you?
Excellent.
Good. I have a question.
Sure.
I have a property. It's a fiveplex.
Okay.
It's free of mortgage.
Okay.
And so when I bought my second property, which was an eightplex,
Yep.
I had $150,000 down,
Okay.
and the bank insisted on taking a lien from the fiveplex.
What?
It insisted on taking a lien on the fiveplex.
Yeah.
Now, they took the lien, and it was for $75,000.
Okay.
Now, it's 5 years later, and the mortgage, the capital on the mortgage, a sufficient amount of money has been paid. The lien would be almost paid. Now, I would like to know whose responsibility is it to remove the lien? Is it the bank's responsibility to go to the notary, or for me to ask them to go?
No, it's your responsibility to remove any liens off of your property. You're going to have to get a payout statement from the actual lender showing that it's free and clear. And then once you have that, you can take that to the notary, and then from there you can actually have the lien radiated. However, I do find it very strange that the bank went and got a lien.
So did I. That's why. Why is it my responsibility to take out the lien when they insisted on it?
Yeah, this sounds to me like it was a cross-collateralization that was done between the two properties. You said that they put the lien on the fiveplex, and then you bought an eightplex, correct?
Right. They wanted
Yeah.
a guarantee for their money.
Yeah. Was this a green bank by any chance? A local?
no.
Okay.
No.
Which bank was it, if you don't mind me
The
asking?
Laurentian Bank.
Okay, that's what I mean. It's a yeah. Sorry, I said a green bank. I meant one of the local
Okay.
ones. Yeah, yeah. I've seen Laurentian do it. I've seen Desjardins do cross collateralizations like that. I'm not a big fan of the practice. I don't think that it's a good.
Has anybody brought them to
yeah.
court?
I don't know about that, but you know what? In all honesty, this is something that you need to deal with at the beginning when you're actually setting something up, and this is one of the reasons why I tell people. A mortgage broker, and this is not to toot our horn right now, but a mortgage broker's job is to make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen to you. You know, when you're going into a bank, you're at the mercy of whatever the person at the bank, unfortunately, is selling. And banks want to put their hands in every single thing that you have. So that way, if God forbid something happens to one, they have a ton of collateral in all kinds of different places. So, Laura, I'm sorry.
I see their point. I see their point, Terry.
Yeah.
But 150 down on 550
Yeah.
was plenty of money.
100%. 100%. I agree with you 1,000%. I'd be interested in finding out kind of how this evolves for you. You can call me at the office and we can kind of get into a little bit more. But unfortunately, it's going to have to be your responsibility that to pay for that. If you kick and scream enough, maybe they'll kick you back some money. But obviously, I can't speak for the bank. I would try and fight for them to pay for that radiation.
Oh, well, thank you for the advice.
Absolutely, Laura. Have a great day.
You too.
We also have a text here from Facebook land. It's from Heidi, and she asks, if you only had $10,000 to your name, no job, what would your next steps be? Well, the good news is you're 1/3 of the way there. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. So you have to remember, when you're buying a property, there's 3 elements that need to be looked at. The first element is your credit. The second element is your equity. In other words, how much you have available for a down payment. The third thing is your income. In other words, how much money you're generating so that we can successfully be able to calculate your indebtedness ratios. So credit, we need to have it minimum 650 should be the beacon score. On the equity side, depending on what kind of a property you're buying, so if you're buying a single family home, a condo, or a duplex, you need 5% down payment if you're going to live in it. If you're going triplex, fourplex, then it's 10%. 5+ doors, it's 15%. And if it's going to be purely rental purposes, it's 20% from 1 door all the way to 4, and then once you surpass 4 doors, you go into the 5 doors plus, it's 15% again. And that's a huge misconception. And now that's something that we're going to kind of get into a little bit on the show, Eleni, but it's a huge misconception that people have. They don't realize that when you go over 5 doors, it's 15% down. So we're going to get into that a little bit. So if you only have $10,000 to your name, that theoretically means that you could buy a property for $200,000. So depending on the amount of income that you have at that point, then you would have to qualify for a mortgage of $190,000 and change. So I hope that answers your question, Heidi. The next thing for you would be to verify your credit, obviously, and to make sure that you get that income to be able to support that mortgage.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, if your question was what to do with it, so what you're saying is the next step really is to get a proper pre-qualification, obviously. But I think just in general, and that's where the why comes in, what to do with it. Do you buy a condo, for example, 200,000 as an example, and live in it for a while, let it gain in value, maybe refinance it, pull it out? Can you find a duplex at that price? Maybe not in the city. But what to do is it's going to depend a lot on your why. Why do you want to buy an investment property, right?
Well, let's get to your why. What was your why? Why did you want to buy your first investment property?
Well, in our case, I mean, we were renting in Park X. Long story short, we got married young, and we were renting there because my sister actually lived there, and she was having a baby at the same time. And you know what? We got robbed one evening, and my husband was like, "No," he's like, "We're not doing this anymore." He's like, "We're going to buy a house." I'm like, okay, we're going to buy a house. I'm like, well, what do we have? We had, between the two of us, it's funny that she said 10,000. We had $10,000 between the two of us. We had some RSPs already. Right. We were 24, same age as you. And we said, okay, what can we buy? So we did our pre-approval. We were approved for, I think it was up to like 110,000, 115,000, 10% down. 100,000, let's say. We ended up buying. Long story short, we looked around what areas. I found Lachine, which, you know, everybody knows that I rave about Lachine. It's
You
a hidden,
love Lachine, yeah.
you know, hidden gem. It's gone up in value like, I don't know, 20 times since we've, you know, 20 X times. Anyway, so yeah, we ended up buying a duplex in Lachine that we lived in that needed a lot of work. And my husband learned how to, you know, get more handy. And, you know, we collected the rent. We learned the hard way about tenants and tenants' rights. And we learned about the Régie du Logement. We learned a lot in the first 5 years. And then I was like, okay, we could do this. Yeah, and that's how it started. So
Amazing.
you know, living in your first investment property is actually not a bad way to start, because not only do you learn fast, but you save on your mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And you know what? I think for me, my why was very simple. I wanted to live for free. I wanted my tenants to pay for my lifestyle. And my thought process was, if I collect enough rents that actually pay for my lifestyle, then my extra work that I do, so when I'm actually out working, that goes to savings and so on and so forth.
Other investments.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming up, we're going to be talking again with Eleni and myself. We're going to be looking at investment properties. Stay tuned for more. We have callers and texts coming in fast and furious. We're going to get to Lawrence in a little bit.
The Real Estate Show is brought to you by Northeast Mortgages.
Le Festival International de Jazz de Montréal is proud to welcome Anushka Shankar. Enjoy the creative sitar player perform various forms of Indian classical music. You will be charmed by her melodies that express messages of hope and peace. A night that you will remember for years. Anushka Shankar, May 3rd at Monument National. Tickets on...
So, should I... Okay, I'm seeing... Oh, I do see some of them. Lawrence from LaSalle, tax bill land increased. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because...
Oh, yeah, I see it, yeah.
But then when you share the video, you only see the comments on your share.
Yeah, I don't see it on Terry, which is fine. No, but I see the ones that are coming into the station. I see the square. Sometimes, yeah, I see it. It's nice that people are sending us stuff on Facebook. Very nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, one time we didn't have a Facebook Live. Somebody actually said, "There's no show today. I'm waiting."
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice. It means like people are actually watching.
Well, you know what? Sometimes more people are on Facebook than on the radio, so it's nice to have
nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Jennifer is saying hi.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Oh
my God, I lost my voice.
It's okay. We can still understand you.
Thank you.
So yeah. But you know what? It's funny. This year I understand clients now, because I was at the beginning, and now I feel like I myself am growing as an investor, because we want to invest in something bigger now. But you're always learning.
But I find it's hard to give advice if you haven't walked in those shoes.
It is hard. You're
so
right.
like, you know, you go to a banker, sometimes he's still living with mommy and daddy at home or renting an apartment, and you're nervous. It's your first home.
That's a good point.
And he doesn't understand why you're nervous, because he's never walked in those shoes.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think that's good is if you do team up with people, like again, Terry he's done the investment property thing. He knows the pitfalls. He knows about the tenants. All the other stuff that comes up, that it's not necessarily part of my job as a real estate broker or Terry's job.
It's like on the
he's
field
doing your
learning.
mortgage, but he's lived it. So he's going to say, well, be careful with this, or, you know, this could happen, or...
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important if you are starting out to actually, your team of people that you're working with should, technically speaking, and there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of people
and
who
I do that personally with financial advisors.
Yeah.
And not to be poop disturber, but when somebody says, you know, oh, you should look at investing in this and then
you mean on the financial advising?
Like if somebody gives me advice where to invest my money, I'm like, oh, would you mind showing me your portfolio? I'd love to see how it worked for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't invest in that. I don't have that kind of money. Well, why should I take your advice? I don't even know.
Yeah.
You're not proving to me that it works, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even believe in it enough yourself
to
invest in it. So, for me, that's my test.
Yeah, it's true. And there's a lot of groups out there, too, right? There's so many investment groups. Look, we're part of some of the investment groups that give education and help clients. We do it at the office.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think especially if you're starting, once you get experience, you can do things a little bit differently. You still need a team, though. You need a good team of like accountants and lawyers. God, that's so important. But even them, accountants and lawyers who invest themselves are not the same, I would say, as an accountant who does not invest.
I agree.
They don't know that extra stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you said, you go to your bank, okay, they're going to get a mortgage for you. Are they going to think about other things because they've never invested? They haven't had buildings.
It's like our accountant is always surprised when we say, no, we need to, we don't want to write off, like people do, like they want to write off everything and have a zero declaration.
You have a different strategy.
We're like, no, that doesn't make sense to us. Then you can't get mortgages, you can't get anything with a zero bottom line. That's stupid. And it's like, you're the first clients who want to pay taxes. I'm like, but that's the right way, because that's going to open doors. You can't just write off everything and then expect
that's because you have a strategy, right? If you want to invest and buy some properties and you know that you want to have some income showing,
exactly,
right? That's why you're doing that.
We have so many clients who come. They're like, "Well, I make 200,000, but I write off 200,000, so my bottom line is zero." Okay.
And a lot of those people have cash, so that's another.
But then that's another strategy. Yeah. There's other places.
But it's a challenge, and I'm sure on the mortgage side we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody has that. So they have cash, they have a good job.
There's solutions to everyone, right? It all depends on how open you are. If I tell you have tons of cash but not enough,
your credit or
whatever, then at that point, are you okay with a private lender? Are you okay with a higher interest rate? Are you okay with going with this specific bank? With that,
I think you're right. There's always a way to do it.
There's always a way, but are you open to it, or are you going to say, no, I want the lowest rate and I want to be treated like a salary?
But as an investor, you do have to be open to things.
Yeah.
You can't be.
And interest rate is tax deductible at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that whole interest rate portion.
So whatever interest you pay on your mortgage, right? You deduct it at the end of the year as an expense. Yeah.
So if you're truly...
Which is another benefit to owning a single house. A lot of first-time buyers. Yeah. Terry's back.
Terry's back. It was a fake seat, Terry.
I know.
That's Chantal's thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I had to run to get the my phone.
What? You don't need that?
I have my questions.
You have it on that. Okay. Oh, he has a. Okay. So So you covered a little bit of the mortgages, but not the difference for investment properties over 5. Just pitch it.
Watch this.
What did you want to get into after?
This is how we make it slide.
Oh gosh.
Hold on. Aha! And I could throw more stuff at Murph.
You're worse than my kids. I'm like, when the kids do something and you're like, what happened? Okay, we're going to our caller after the break? Or, okay.
But you want to cover a couple more subjects first, or no?
Is it a call or a text? Tax bill land increase, it says.
I think it's a call.
Okay, it's a call, so they're waiting.
You have a call on hold, Terry?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the pre-approval process in terms of... Well, you talked about the minimum a little bit.
I can't hear you. Yeah, I talked about the minimum.
You talked about the minimum, so duplexes, triplexes, over 5, that's something different. But as a first-time investment...
Let's talk about... I'm going to ask the number 2. And then you can go into number 5 to me.
Yeah, okay, because we already talked about the... Yeah. Well, number 4, we kind of talked about over the break, by the way, Marav and I, about working with people who know.
What is this?
What?
Commercial. Whitney Houston Experience. Who was that?
Why stop there? Transform your entire home with Cuisine West Island the way you like it. Contemporary, modern, country,
why is the
urban,
speaker
kitchens,
so loud?
bathrooms, or built-in furniture. Everything is designed and
Are we still on Facebook? He's scaring the Facebook people.
by the professional team at Cuisine West Island. 2758 St. Charles in Kirkland or at cuisinewestisland.com. Cuisine West Island, for those not easily impressed.
Do you or someone you know have problems with drugs or alcohol?
Marooned.
We can help you. Call Annie's house at 514-738-AAY.
Okay.
That's 514.
So we'll get to the caller, and then we'll get to the question.
With your real estate and mortgaging team, Terry Kilakos and Eleni Akrivos on CJAD 800.
You know what? Don't make me break out into like my dance moves. Loving the music. I'm loving the music. Welcome back, everyone. It's Terry Kilakos here with the Real Estate Show. In studio with me, I have Eleni Akrivos. And today we're talking about buying your first investment property, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Very patiently, I have Laureen on the phone from LaSalle who has a question about tax bills and land increases. Laureen?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Did I butcher your name? It's Laureen, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right.
I purchased a property 22 years ago in the Laurentians.
Okay.
And it was a small piece of land,
okay,
approximately 55 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite deep by about 350 feet deep.
Oh, a nice parcel of land, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's in the mountains.
Yeah.
And I wanted to purchase more land, so I approached my neighbor on the left, mm-hmm, and tried to make a deal.
Yeah.
The owner told me, "I'm sorry, there's a parcel of land between the two of us,
mm-hmm,
and it's unclaimed."
Okay.
I approached the village municipal hall,
mm-hmm,
and they said, "We don't know anything about it." But every year I would bring the matter up at City Hall.
Okay.
And this year, when I received my tax bill, there was quite an increase in my taxes. I looked at
there was an increase in your taxes for vacant land?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So I'm about to pay the increase plus my usual amount.
Okay.
Who does that land belong to now?
So,
if I pay the taxes.
Well, hold on. So did you get that? Did the city, the municipality, did they give you the land from what you...
I don't know. I just noticed that there's an increase on my tax bill because of the size of land.
Okay, so the first thing that you got to check is obviously double check the size of your land, see if it's changed. Okay, sometimes the municipalities, what they're going to do is they change the way that the cadastral designations are set up. So they're going to change the I'm going to give you a simple example. I have some land and I have some property up north. At what point an arpenteur géométrique from the municipality came in and said, well, these lots need to be, I don't know, facing north or something. And they skewed the lots a little bit. Now every single person around that lake is encroaching on everybody else. It's a little silly, but it happened. They do all kinds of weird stuff like that sometimes. So the first thing that I would do is I would just double check what the size of your land is. See if there's
that.
And it's increased?
Yes.
Okay. So it is
about 50 feet.
By about 50 feet. Okay, so it is possible that they actually gave you that land.
Yeah.
I would have, so they basically merged it onto your cadastral. I would have a conversation with him, just find out what's going on. The other thing that you could be paying for is, you could be paying welcome tax.
No. I bought the property 22 years ago.
No, but I'm talking about for the new portion. There might be something that they've tacked on for this year compared to other years.
It doesn't state on my tax bill.
Okay. So, I would have a conversation with the municipality. Eleni, I don't know, do you want to add anything to that?
Not really. I mean, I think you just have to check and see what it's,
because
check the information.
I've been approaching them every year saying, can I buy it? So this year, all of a sudden, they've been saying over the last 5, 10, 15 years, your property originated in 1900.
Mm-hmm.
And we're reevaluating, rechecking, and going back into the records.
Yeah.
And so they haven't come to me or sent me a letter or notifying me or anything. They've just put it onto my tax bill and pay that amount.
Yeah, I would have a conversation with him, just see what's going on with it. There could be a number of things, but it sounds to me like they've probably tacked it on for you. I'm a little surprised that they didn't warn you about it, but that's most likely what they did is they added that portion onto your cadastral.
And what if they do? If I pay the taxes without questioning it, who does that land belong to?
If they added it to you, it belongs to you now. But just make sure that that's what they did. Okay?
Yeah, they did because
it
states the size of the land.
Okay, yeah.
It does state the size of the land on my tax bill.
There you go.
And you know, I'm afraid to do the wrong thing, but I really want that piece of land.
For sure. No, I would still call them, Laureen, because chances are they did do that, but just double check it, okay? Thanks, Laureen. Have a great afternoon. And, you know, this kind of brings up something really important, Eleni, talking about land as an investment, talking about land banking. Right? This is something that people don't actually realize. When we're talking about real estate investing, we're talking, you know, I always kind of like to give the example of when you're a real estate investor, you're either a dairy farmer or you're a rancher.
Yep.
You know, and people kind of look at me and they think I'm cracked, okay? But this is the reality, right? So when you're a rancher, what you're basically doing is you're buying properties, you're raising them a little bit, right? So you're doing a few little things, and then you're flipping them for a higher price. Just like if you're buying cattle, and you're basically buying it, keeping it for a little bit, feeding it, and then flipping it out for a higher price via
more like buy and hold.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then no, not buy and hold. You're a flipper. When you're a rancher, you're kind of a flipper. When we're talking about a dairy farmer, it's a very different type of a investment where you're basically buying this property, and you're once you have it, you're basically milking it, right? Just like a dairy farmer would actually milk a cow, and they make money not off of the meat of the cow, but rather they're making money off of the actual dairy. So at that point, you would be a dairy farmer. And just like that, you're collecting your rent. So land banking is along the lines of, you know, you're buying and you're holding for a long period of time. And some people will actually buy this land, hold it, and eventually develop it. And other people will just buy it and hold it for, you know.
And I don't know about your family, but my family had bought some land long time ago with the intention of, you know, doing something with it. They didn't. And I think my husband's family too had land, you know, and it does go up in value. So that's something else that people can think about, land.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. In the last little while, have you seen a lot more people kind of getting interested in becoming real estate investors?
In the last year, it's honestly, it's gone crazy. Again, I don't know if it's because of HGTV. I don't know, because Montreal is so popular and we've been in the news and our condos, you know, everything's booming here. And I see, I'm just getting a lot of calls from people who already own properties, who already own a single home, which is, you know, and then I think, you know, taxes have gone up, expenses have gone up, and now they're thinking, you know what, I'd like to do some investing. I want to maybe do a flip. You know, I want to have an apartment building and have rental income. You know, let's talk about it. And then we meet and we look at, okay, well, why? Why do you think you want to become an investor? I met a lot of people, for example, who've lived in their home for a long time. It's almost paid off, or it is paid off. So they have the equity in their single house and they're thinking of, you know, refinancing, pulling money out. Their kids are getting older. They want to buy a condo for them as an investment, or they want to buy, again, a plex where one of their kids can live in one of the units and then they can collect rent. So I'm seeing that people are realizing, I think, that real estate is a good investment. It does increase your net worth. And not to put any other investments down, okay, but I truly do believe that real estate is a great vehicle for everybody to invest in, okay? Short term and long term, like you said, the two types, right? The short term versus the long term and what you're going to invest in is going to depend a lot on you as a person. What type of investor are you? Are you, you know, a risk taker? Are you handy? So that's the type of stuff that we have to look at.
Okay, we're coming up to 1:45. We'll take a little break here and head to the CJAD Traffic Center with Kira Yeager.
We are still dealing with an accident, which is...
Just go into a little bit of a story about my first property, and you know, maybe we can kind of talk a little. You can ask me number 5. Would you talk about over analysis or over complicating things before buying?
Do you guys want a horror story? Is that what you're gonna say? Because you want my horror story of tenants? You want to get into tenants and horror story?
No horror stories.
So we're not doing the ugly. We'll do it on the.
Yeah, we'll do the ugly next time.
Yeah.
If
you want to get into the ways,
we won't have a lot of time. We also have a caller coming in.
Oh yeah.
So let's just go into and a text. Lachine, oh my God, I would rather live on Mars. What a shitty neighborhood.
Yeah,
only
obviously.
Malakas and Jean-Guy Peppers would live there. Peace out.
You're not going to read that on the air.
Well, I'm a Malaka, but I'm not a Jean-Guy Pepper. Sorry.
It's a little generalizing.
Not every area is for every person, you know? You gotta figure out your why. Are you writing back to them?
That is a little generalizing.
No, don't.
Write back
Terry,
to them.
don't waste your time.
Danny, what's his name? Dan used to just ignore them.
No, you don't. Yeah. I don't give people.
I don't see a caller. I see Kathleen NDG.
Yeah. Buying you home.
It's too bad. If people do we want to get people talking just a little tiny amount about what do you do if you're ready? Like you're doing your pre-approval, you're doing that, and you want to start kind of like looking for investment property. What do you do?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you do?
You look for some good properties. You look for some motivated vendors.
I think we need to work with a realtor.
Here's another.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of them. I have an interest in flipping homes. What are the capital gains or taxes that have to be paid on the profit? So there's that one. That's a good one. That just came in on Facebook. There's also another one on Facebook. Is there a website that rates new house builders in Quebec?
Oh,
do you know?
There is a website that's called Habitation. I don't know if they rate them, but they give a lot of information. Habitation Neuve, I think it's called. Habitation.
The APCHQ themselves wouldn't have some sort
Guide
of...
Habitation Neuve?
It's Habitation Neuve Montréal.
Mon Habitation Neuve?
Yeah, it's Guide Habitation. So that's a guide that's done from Montreal that compares all builders and what they offer. But does it rate them? Let me check if it actually rates them. Listen, when people buy properties from different builders, it's not hard with Google nowadays to get, to see who has a bad reputation, for example.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what it takes.
Can you give that website online on Facebook, Eleni?
Yeah, I don't know if I have that link when I go to Terry's page. It's guidehabitation.ca. So I'm assuming they're asking about Montreal and its surrounding areas. Not.
That way you don't have to do it on the air. You could just give it to him on Facebook.
Oh, that's Eleni's commercial. I was like, so many.
Somebody squeezed in their commercial in our show.
Hey, that's the first time that's happened. That's cool.
Can we pass me your phone? There's a lady who would love, who wants us to give her a call. She doesn't want to be on the air.
But I mean, you're going on the air right now.
No. It's for I'm gonna get Olympia to give her a call.
Hi, I'm Max Patretti.
Hi, Max.
See for yourselves why I chose Presty to build my home. Visit Presty.ca for more details.
You're listening to The Real Estate Show with your real estate and mortgaging team, Terry Kilakos and Eleni Akrivos on CJAD 800.
The man in the back is ready to crack as he raises his hands to the sky. And the girl in the corner is everyone's fun. She could kill you with a wink of her eye.
If you can see me now, I'm doing like my... well, you can see me if you go on Facebook. See, there you go. Okay, just to let you know, we got a couple of texts came in. We also have a couple of callers. Just want to let Ressa know, who asked me to give her a call after the show. Definitely Olympia will be calling you. We'll set up a time that's good for you to chat, and we'll talk about what your questions are. Now off to NDG. We have Kathleen on the phone. Kathleen, you with me? Hello, Kathleen? I think we lost Kathleen. Do we have her? There's Kathleen. Hey, Kathleen. How are you?
Hi. Can you hear me?
I could hear you. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. So anyways, I've never owned a home, and I currently rent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tired of renting because, it's not secure, et cetera, because you never know, when they want to get rid of you, whatever. So I'm thinking about my a condo. I'm 65.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your suggestion, or what do you think?
Absolutely, 100%. You know, one of the things that I find very interesting in the last couple of years is that you know, we were talking about this the other day with Marav, my wife and partner. Our client base starts at people as young as 21, as old as 95. Okay, so you're at 65 years old. I think that, you know, you're in a good place right now. I mean, we have to definitely look at your income depending on what you have. I mean, if it's if you have a pension, if you're still working. So these are all important little elements to kind of look at. But definitely, it's never too late. It's never too early. If you want to buy a place, I'm 100% for it, and I think that it's the perfect time. Obviously. Do you want to add anything, Eleni?
Honestly, it's always the perfect time. You have to follow your gut. And if, you know, from what I'm hearing, you're ready. You're saying you want to buy something. Now it's a matter of, again, looking at the budget, like Terry said. And secondly, you know what, finding the right condo. There's a million choices out there. There's so many good, you know, products, different neighborhoods. So depending on, you know, your lifestyle, why not, right? Why not own something? And there's so many ways after that you can benefit from it.
100%, 100%. I like this. These types of texts give me a fat head, so I'm gonna read it. TK, I never miss your show. Love, love, love. Every day, love him. So there you go. Thank you. We're going to Joanne on the phone, who has a question about selling her condo. Hey, Joanne.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm not too bad.
Good.
I own a condo, which is a duplex, part of a duplex in NDG.
Okay.
The location is great. I've currently moved out, and the condo is up for sale. Now, the problem being is that the people who own the lower, the lower condo, smoke pot continuously.
Lovely.
And so no one who comes in to view the condo on the upper level are interested because of the smell of pot.
Yeah.
And what can I do?
Oof.
Yeah, Eleni?
That is a tough one. You know what? We saw this coming with the new, you know, rules coming in about the pot smoking.
Wonderful.
I mean, we've seen it even before the rules, unfortunately. Yeah. You know, that smell, unfortunately, I mean, it kills your deal. It's finished.
Yeah.
I mean, even from the step outside, people. So I've had people smell it from outside and say, "No, I'm not even going in there."
Yeah, I've had people. They open the front door and
exactly.
And then they say, "Oh, no, thanks," and turn around and they leave.
Yeah, Joanne, I will add this. I had a case where I had a property where my downstairs tenant smoked like a chimney. I mean, this guy smoked so much pot, it was obscene. Yeah. To the point that I would go collect the rent, and I would I would be guaranteed to test positive for marijuana consumption afterwards. But what ended up happening is I had tenants upstairs that said, well, we can't live here anymore. We're leaving. Right. So when they left, I had to figure out a solution. So what I basically did, I figured out exactly where all the smell was coming from. And this is a long process, okay? But if you look hard enough, you'll find exactly how the smell and the smoke is creeping up into your apartment. I went with my property manager, and we basically taped around. So we removed the baseboards, taped around the whole perimeter of the apartment. So we basically sealed off any way that smoke can kind of seep up, put the baseboards back on, and we never had a problem after that. Okay, so it's one of these things, and because
I mean, it's a big place.
It was big. Yeah,
condo. It's a big place.
I have a question though. Yeah. I have a question for you. So you're selling the upper, the person who's living
the lower.
So they're the owners. They're not renting.
No.
Okay.
It's a condo, duplex, and I purchased and own the upper, and another person, and I lived there 23 years. This person's lived there about 20 years.
Okay. Have you spoken to them at all? Do they know that your condo's for sale and this is a problem, and are they cooperating in any way to do anything? They're not willing to do anything?
No. Well, they say they are, but they don't do it.
Okay.
No, they're not willing. They're not terribly very nice people.
The other thing that you could actually do is you can get a lawyer involved and see what you could do. If you want, you can call me at the office. We have a couple of really great lawyers that we work with that specialize in real estate, and I'm sure they'd be very willing to help. And definitely, I don't want to put words in their mouth. They will give you some advice for free, so that could maybe help you out a little bit. Okay, Joanne? So give me a call at the office, and we'll go from there. We have a couple of texters as well. We're not going to get to all the texters, unfortunately. I'm 50 years old, own a home that I just inherited, would stay in it, and now thinking of looking at investments property. I'm in NDG, Montreal West, and prices seem really high. Any thoughts on where to look for a good place to start?
A good place to start for any investment? Ooh, big question.
Yeah.
We have about a minute left to answer that. So, you know what? I've said it on other shows. I'm going to say it again. High demand areas right now are English areas of Montreal. If you're looking to invest, you need to be buying properties, under value. Okay. You need to be
100%.
getting good deals. You need to be working with the right people. Look for the diamond in the rough. Look for something that needs work if you're going to buy and flip. Look for something that, you can increase the revenues quickly. Look in the French areas. Look in Hochelaga, Maisonneuve. We've been, saying that over and over.
Hochelaga.
I love that
Yeah.
area. And there's other little areas like that. Call us at the office and we can, give you more ideas.
100%. Look, my first place, it was Hochelaga Maisonneuve. People laughed at me. I was a little Greek kid buying in, a very French neighborhood.
Yeah.
I didn't even speak French at the time, but I learned to speak French, and I love it.
Well, look at Lachine. Same thing. People say,
100%.
how do you live in Lachine?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's gone way up in value.
Yep, 100%. Eleni, we're out of real estate
already.
I know, it's crazy. I think we're going to have to continue this topic because it's a hot topic and people really want. If they want to reach you at the office, what's your number?
Yeah, well, for the real estate side, we do have a hotline. You can reach us, 514-716-6188. And then we have as well the mortgage.
Of course. And if you want to speak to the lovely Olympia and set something up on the mortgage side, you can call us there at 514-680-4674 or visit us online at northeastmortgages.ca. As well, you can go online. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. It's newsonthego.ca. Until next week, have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Good music. Did you tell him what music to pick?
No.
I just told them to put rock and roll.
Rock and roll real estate, guys. Bye, Facebook. Thanks for your love and questions.
Have a great week. This week we literally I had a barrage of texts. I had a whole bunch of stuff on Facebook. Didn't get a chance to get to everyone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try and respond to everyone's questions and comments throughout the week. So stay tuned if I didn't get to it as well. There was a question from where is it? There was a question from someone, which I don't see it anymore, about rating builders. Eleni actually posted a link to guidehabitation.ca. So guidehabitation.ca, you'll actually be able to look and compare different builders. As well, you'll be able to see some of the ratings and all that kind of good stuff. So have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Start your consultation right here on CJAD Tuesday night at 7.